Hey, hi Garbage Squad, Foxy here with another how to build video. You guys voted in the comment section that you wanted a Laika, so today we'll be doing how to build Laika. We'll talk about the runes to use, kind of stats, team compositions we'll use him in. And let's kind of pull up my Laika to begin with here. So my Laika is in my storage because, to be quite frank, at the beginning of this video, I would like to say Laika is, ever since he got nerfed and the introduction of Miho, he's kind of like a noob version of Miho. Because if you didn't know, before his passive, I think it was his passive or one of his skills, had like a revenge stun. I forget which skill it was. It could be the passive here. So ever since they took that stun away from his mechanic, definitely not as powerful as before compared to like Miho, for example, and Nat 3 Awakened. Anyway, so let's look at the skill kit, Noble Blood. So this is actually really good because you can't take damage that exceeds 30% of your HP. So when you fight something like a Molong, for example, you don't get destroyed by Molong's third skill. It's capped. So it's another fire type tank against water units that don't have that many multi-hits. You know, Molong does have multi-hit on first and second skill, but it doesn't do 30% of your damage. Or things like Julie, for example, will destroy it. Alicia, that's why you don't see it in arena defense, because it's easily destroyed by things like that. In terms of like RTA use, you won't see Laika use that often in RTA because his kit is just baloney. Why not just use the young Miho instead, right? And so we'll take a look at his skill kit here. So he awakens into resistance. That's honestly, it's very terrible because Laika needs a lot of stats. These are the stats of my Laika. So he is built on Vampire Nemesis. He has a lot of HP. Why? Because I still build him like a bruiser, because at the end of the day, you don't want to build him just to one-shot something. Well, you do. Sorry, let me correct that. You do want to build him to one-shot something, but you don't want to build him so he doesn't live at all. So if I were able to sacrifice some HP here for more attack, I definitely would do to hit more. And I would recommend you get 85 crit rate always for DPS units, because you always want to crit when you're doing Guild War or anything like that. But if you're doing like RTA, obviously speed is going to mean a lot more, and HP and defense and attack, so you probably won't get the 85 crit rate. But general benchmark, I would say, is 85 crit rate. And because he awakens into resistance, you're not going to get the extra crit rate, the extra speed. 100 base speed is not super high, it's kind of average, and not getting 15 awakened crit rate definitely makes it a lot harder to get stats for him. So the reason why I'd recommend you always build it on Vampire. If you're an early game player, no access to Vampire runes, probably like a Blade set, Fatal set, a Rage set, a Swift set, doesn't really matter. You want to build him on speed, crit damage, and attack. So this is kind of where all my HP is coming from. You can see from these my rune quality here. Just show it to you quickly. Like this one, oh man, this one like give me all the stats here. So it's a little bit not as, but Laika, I would say, is within an okay speed range for Guild War. For RTA, too slow. You should refer to how to build Chow video for kind of the speed range or kind of the purpose of the Dragon Knights. But for Guild War purposes, I would say this is an okay speed, and I'll tell you why a little bit later in team compositions. So like I said, Nemesis is obviously the best set because, kind of similar to Garo with Noble Blood, your HP drops at a certain rate. It's capped. So when you're really low and you Justice and you heal back up with a Vampire, your HP won't go down as fast unless they have multi-hit, right? If they just have one strong nuke on the first skill, for example, you won't lose 30%. So that's why it's on Vampire. Is got the solo potential. If you don't have Vampire and you're running just like DPS set, pair it with a healer, sustain, so that he doesn't need Vampire. He can just live and one-shot stuff. Okay, so Nemesis is the best build. If you can't get Nemesis, I'm gonna say you build it on Blade or Will. Those are probably the best sub two sets. Obviously, Blade for the substats, Will to not get controlled if you don't build a Will unit to go along with Laika. So most, as you know, the Justice skill does more damage and ignores all damage reduction effects. So I believe it, if there's a shield, for example, if there is, I believe like a Kali invincibility, so a Chloe skill goes right through it. First skill lands some dots. So this skill, not too crazy about. It's more so the Justice and the Noble Blood. Okay. So in terms of, like I said, stats. I told you about stats before. I wouldn't say my Laika is good. I would say it's pretty average. So in terms of like guild war compositions, some common teams you might see, for example, is going to be like a Skogul, probably a Jean, and probably like one other unit or something like that, right? Something like this, just for example, okay? And typically when you see a triple like tank comp or anything without strips, so it pairs really well if you have a Galleon Laika composition, and the last unit is going to be a Wusa. If you don't have a Wusa like me, you're going to use Ileana. The reason why these two units work so well is because they provide immunity, they provide a shield, so that Laika's passive will also benefit through the shield of the skill 3 right here, Neostone Field. So how it typically works here is, what I said earlier, you don't need that much speed on Laika. It's because you have immunity. When you have immunity first turn, and then it doesn't even matter if your Galleon goes afterwards. To be honest, I think it's probably better if the enemy team goes and then your Galleon goes. But my Galleon is for arena, so it's a little bit faster. And I'll show you the stats afterwards. But it works, this team composition works really well against people who don't have a cleansing or strips. And Jean obviously does have a cleanse with her skill 2 here and her additional turn. And the question is, can I one-shot the Skogul? And my Skogul is actually really tanky. And this is in the case where my Laika does not have enough damage. But you saw how much he hurts there. So when you're running a Laika with an Ileana, it works really well with the briefing skill because he's not that fast. So you can go and cycle and boom. That's a lot of damage we did, but didn't do enough, right? So if I cycle here, I think my Justice is back up, and to showcase you, it goes right through it, right? I got a nice proc there, but like I said before, you want to run this composition and try to use Laika to one-shot something off the bat to make it a 2v3. That's the idea behind this composition, running the full team immunity, for example. And you can, for me, I'm just giving the immunity to my Ileana, but for you, I'd probably give your immunity to the monster, the AI that's going to be targeting and who will be weak. So in this example here, my Galleon's a DPS Galleon. And Skogul is going to do a lot more damage to Galleon, so the immunity should have been, the invincibility should have been given to the Galleon in this example here. So very solid, safe team composition, and I would highly suggest you guys build something similar. If you want to test it again with a team such as a Molong, for example, we can definitely put a Molong in here. But the only problem is when you put a Molong in here, we got some cleansing going on here. So let me show you the stats of the Galleon. Like I said, it's on Will. It's more on the DPS side here, not super thick because it's for arena. And here is my Ileana. So for you guys who have a Wusa, it works super, super well if you have a Swift Wusa. For those who have like a Violent Ileana, be mindful that sometimes you may not outspeed the person if they're like a Swift unit. Okay, unless you're all on Will, fantastic. But if you're not all on Will, it won't work out super well here. So I'll give the immunity, so invincibility here to the Galleon here. 2 turns, and you'll see everything is on Will, right? It gets countered by Will, and that's why I suggest that you let the enemy go first, and then your Galleon goes. That's why I'm like, here is a prime example why I'm suggesting you do that in this case. So the God Squad here is, even without attack buff, I'm still doing a lot of damage, as you can see. So I'm gonna just go cycle here and give it more deeps to kill off the DPS unit here. So you'll see that's the limitation of this team, where if they all have will runes. Your galleon is not going to work. It's a slow type of cleave, I can say. And that's why I suggested, again, running a slow galleon is going to be okay. And look at Molong. Molong is not hurting me right now. He is not doing that much deeps. So I cycle here into this, and we got the shields back up, and we got more damage. You just go ahead and one bop everything slowly here. Can I one shot my own Molong? Nope. So there you have it. That is the how to build Laika. It's good, but very niche. I would never run it on your defense because you need to control his AI to make it actually useful. Okay, so that is the how to build Laika. Let's see if I have a guild war right here that I can run and show you guys. Oh, sorry, nope, no guild war here because we still have members who did not attack yet. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, let me know what you guys want to see next for the how to build series. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Look forward to the next Summoners War video because yes, I'll still be making Summoners War videos despite the Calibria content. All right, see you guys in the next video.